Rolling back out of Deep Lake here, and next stop is a free campsite down by Grand Coulee Dam.
Oh, the day I break these chains, I'm bound for the life of the simple things.
Look at that view, guys, out over Banks Lake. More and more glacially tore up land. Left us something really pretty though. I don't really think that Zion's really any better than this. You know, Kevin and I were talking about it. We're getting pretty close to our campsite for tonight. About 10, 11 miles left. It's going to be on a bay in this lake here. We have arrived here in Osborne Bay. So this is a little bay outcrop in Banks Lake. And so this is our free campsite area for tonight. Just trying to drive in and find us a little place to make our home for tonight. Good morning, guys. So Kevin and I are just about ready to leave camp this morning. We're going to head on down to Grand Coulee Dam, go check it out. They're supposed to have a visitor tour here in about 30 minutes, so we got to get going pretty quick, but should be neat. I'm gonna be charging up the battery here on my way over, so I'll have to show any pretty stuff after. Getting over here to the Grand Coulee Dam. There's a big one. It doesn't look near as big on this side, but that's still a pretty good distance across. One of the largest concrete structures in the whole world, right here. Now this holds back an entire lake that probably runs back 20-25 miles, called Roosevelt Lake. Now Teddy Roosevelt's actually my favorite president, but Franklin D. Roosevelt is the one that, with the Great Deal, actually put forth the funds, federal funds, to be able to create this dam. And in doing so, now tons of farmers have a very consistent life, and there's a major stream of food source that goes out to this country, all because of that. Now that I told you a little bit about the dam, what I want you guys to do, without looking it up, because I'm gonna go look it up right below the video here, down in the comments, I want you to tell me which dam is bigger. Especially you guys that have seen Hoover Dam before. Is Grand Coulee Dam here bigger, or is Hoover Dam bigger? Let's go and see what we got in the visitor center. This little plaque tells a little bit of the story about the dam, of when it was constructed and who was involved in it. If you guys ever get over here, make sure you go into the visitor center and catch the video that was in there. I learned so much about this. It's absolutely great. Those of you guys that went ahead and guessed down below, I'm going to tell you the answer. This dam here, if you go by massive concrete in this construction project behind me, it's about 4 times the size of Hoover. Hoover is about 200 feet taller, but in this spillway, the entire Hoover Dam would fit within this spillway. Chief Joseph Dam, that's about 50 minutes from here, sorry, is large, a little bit larger than the Hoover Dam. What I really wanted to sit down here and talk about, it's kind of a little bit heavier. And so if you guys aren't into anything heavy at all, then maybe it's not what you want to listen to, but I felt kind of compelled to talk about it. this project behind me and watching that video really had it sit home for me. And back in the Depression era, well, Depression era and then right after it is when this was being constructed, and it was I guess what you would call it, a stimulus bill that did this as well, right? And our generation, we've recently had such an experience ourselves. And during the last recession that hadn't been all that long ago, really. And there was a stimulus bill that was more than double, after you correct for inflation, than the one that created Hoover, created several other big infrastructure projects around the United States that have more than paid for themselves again, you know, not only in the level of the lifestyle that all of us could live in this country, but also in the sense of literally paying back the money to the federal government that was used to construct it, right? And then we look and see what the Bush and Obama period of time gave us, and all they really did is give an extension in the handout of unemployment. Not that unemployment is just strictly a handout, I don't want to come across that way with it, but definitely extending that in a lot of ways was, we have all across this country, we have our electrical infrastructure. I mean, this looks all right here, but all across this country we have issues with our electrical structure. Out over there, bridges. Now, that bridge is probably fine, it's active, but all across this country we have bridges that were in need of repair, you know, dangerous, many of them even dangerous. And I'm sure there's 100 different other things that you could come up with. And I'm so disappointed in how those funds were used, and they weren't used to do something that could pay back the generations that came after us. It's not okay to me. I don't know what has happened with the generations that we've had most recently, but if we love this country, which I hope everybody here does, I love this country. I love it to the very core of my being, right? And we've made mistakes over time. We haven't been perfect, but hating this country due to our mistakes is not what's going to, it's not going to redeem any of those mistakes that were made. And all it does is weaken and remove the strength that we have and the ability that we have to make everything better for each other, you know. And I just hope this hits home with you as much as it does with me, that we could have put thousands and thousands and thousands of people to work. They would have earned better. They would have been able to do more. There would have been continued opportunities for the generations after. I want you to get out there, connect with people, live your big story, and make sure you do something every single day to reduce world suck. Peace, guys.